Welcome back to the Teacher's AI Cafe. I'm Kane, a teacher and a parent who wants AI to give us back our time. I share practical classroom-tested AI strategies to cut down your workload, improve your feedback and reduce stress so you can get your evenings back and be more present with your friends and family. No jargon, just actionable steps. Grab your mug. Now let's get going. Welcome back to the podcast. Today is the 22nd of December, 2025. This week's show and update is mainly about AI becoming faster, integrating more into the everyday tools that we actually need and use. I guess the key issue around these changes is generally how can they support things like planning our data work collab, as well as not exposing our student data. Our first item is an update from Gemini 3 Flash, and this is now the standard model, the default model when you're using Gemini. It's got faster search and gets better multimodal responses, so different formats at a lower cost for Google, which is handy for them. And it obviously draws a lot on all the Gemini 3 advances happened recently. So in terms of importance for teachers, students using Gemini research will receive quicker and also better answers without changing any settings because it's now the default on there. And in terms of teachers, you can now, I guess, be more explicit about what acceptable AI support is available and how students can still demonstrate their own thinking, especially in research and writing tasks. Like I said, they're going to get a quicker response, so it's going to be easier to integrate into your programs and build on what you're already doing in the classroom outside the AI platform. Okay, another update for Notebook LM. They've been added data tables. So what's changed now is you can actually pull key information from things like PDFs, videos, web pages, and structured data tables, export directly to things like Google Sheets. I'm not sure if it works in Excel, haven't tested it out. So this saves an additional substantial amount of time, really, if you've got lots of different documents and you move them to things, say, ready to graph tables. You can now do it in one step. And this is really applicable to things like in history, HAS, and science, and maths, where you're using lots of data and you actually want to do something else with that data to be more representable, easier, readable format. It's also, as teachers, allows us to do some quick audits of the data that we're actually getting out of these materials. So we can look at the data and then assess it visually. As being visual creatures, that's much more natural for us. And it supports the idea of Hattie's visible learning, not hiding it in behind. So we can see the data, we can see the visible learning. We can even give those both to students and see, do they equate and which one's a better format, but which ones gives more, say, details, such as data make more depth in details, but far more complex. Then simplified different types of visual mediums to look at the same information. Good discussion around that in terms of developing those tools that they want to use, say, in assignments or projects. Number 3, ChatGPT has added an app directory. So this is quite interesting. So the directory allows users to add approved tools that connect to chat to external services and data inside the same interface. So this helps ChatGPT into a hub for querying things like documents, resource libraries, and other school systems in one place. So once you get those connections in there, it's like a central point. And obviously, I guess in terms of schools in the future, really need some clear governance around which apps are allowed, what data they can see, how access is controlled on student and staff accounts when actually using it. So big privacy issues there. Number 4 is Claude agents and agent skills. And this is an interesting approach. So Anthropic has expanded Claude's agents capabilities, including what's called Claude in Chrome browser extensions and agent skills. I quite find the agent skills quite interesting because they're trying to define an open standard for defining reusable skills that agents can execute across different platforms. So the idea is these open skills can be used on Gemini and ChatGPT as well. So we get this common standard or language we can actually use, and that's quite interesting. In terms of Claude-based agents, I mean, you can obviously use them to automate your routine workflows that you do, such as collecting links. Spoke about the other day. You can do that in terms of sending agents out, tidying up shared drives, generating standardized reports. Rather than relying on one-off prompts, we start to automate it. And because these agents can observe browser activity and act across systems, then the leaders will need to be very clear around policies on privacy and permissions and what tasks are appropriate to delegate to an AI versus doing it manually the old way. And the last thing we've got today is Teams mode in Microsoft 365 Copilot. So a new Teams mode allows users to bring in individual Copilot chats into a Teams channel so that a group shares the same AI context and co-develops responses together. And this, I think, is a logical extension of using that AI. So why this matters, things like curriculum, leadership teams, even department teams can now use Teams to plan, write policies, and even summarize meetings collaboratively using Copilots supporting drafting. I think within an educational context, when you're all working on similar content and you're developing for, say, the same classes or year groups or topics, this will become increasingly useful for schools that are on the Microsoft platform as opposed to the Google. I imagine Google will bring something in similar as well. Schools will need norms, how teams question and verify Copilot suggestions, as we always do, so that AI supports the collective thinking rather than replacing it with its own opinion. Once again, final judgment, professional judgments, always with us teachers. Across these updates today, or developments in the last week, AI is doing a lot more in the background in terms of structuring information, documents, and collaborating for us. And this is where the real power of AI will come in the long term as we develop these skills, this knowledge of how best to use them. And there's a lot of opportunities to let these tools handle your repetitive tasks while deliberately keeping explanation, interpretation, final decision in your hands. So thank you for listening today, and for Merry Christmas to everyone. There being just a couple of days before Christmas here in Australia and around the world, funny enough. And keep up the good work. Enjoy your break and holidays. Come back recharged and refreshed for another exciting, whether it's your next term or the new school year for those down under. Till then, take care.